If you don't mind me asking, tell me about that situation where Paul Pierce, he got stabbed at a nightclub in Boston.
Um, Boston was a city that was, ganged out in the 80s and 90s, right? Late 80s, early 90s. Like, the thing with Boston is that it's such a small area that if you got beef with somebody, you're going to find them. So if you having gangs in that type of environment is worse than having gangs where your shit is spread out miles and miles and miles. I came up with an idea. At that point, I was pretty successful in the hood with hip hop, in the hood in Boston, and rap and doing my thing. Source had really taken off yet, but I had a real good reputation out there in the street, and I was getting money. We had put out some music, and I came with the idea like, look, there's a way that I can give back to the hood, all the hoods, without people being mad. Because I know if I would just go and grab one rap group out of one project, then everybody else would be upset. So I said, you know what, I'll go grab one or two, because everybody's rapping at this time. Boston's are separated by projects and blocks. I said, I'm gonna go grab a group or a solo artist out of each project and block and call them the Wise Guys. I had already called our group the Made Men, call them the Wise Guys and put them all together. And, some of this murder could stop. And we could start doing hip hop shows, because you really couldn't do shows in Boston because everybody would fight and everybody be scared, So I said, well, let me just, this will be a way we can calm the violence down. You know what I'm saying? We start doing more shows and shit. And I ended up putting guys together that had been killing each other for almost 20 years. Generational projects like Academy Homes in Orchard Park. It worked. One year, our murder rate was like 120. The next year, it was like 30. And they called it the Boston Miracle. And then Boston got a bunch of money from Washington, D.C. Bill Clinton came down. I never got the credit. Long story short, I got them got the Wise Guys a deal on Def Jam. Now, these guys are the, these are the worst of the worst when it comes to the city. When I say that, not in a bad way, because I'm a part of that, but how Boston looked at these guys, gangbangers, drug dealers. I mean, that was it. That's all we did. And hip hop. So we was doing a release party. I had got him a distribution deal on Def Jam. I got him it was all in the Source magazine. I got him a Pele deal, an Avarex deal to do ads. I mean, I put them on tour with each other. I would put the worst ones I would put the ones who had the worst enemies on tour with each other, because then I figure if they're out of town, it would be Boston against whoever they're out of town with, not necessarily their projects against each other. And it worked. Some of these guys are still friends to this day. Like, that shit would have never happened. About 12, 13 guys. Put a lot of my own money in it too. It worked, man, And then, so one night we gave an album release party. All the Wise Guys are coming. It's downtown too, So it kind of was like, whoa, this is pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? Because that was rare. So we're downtown. So I guess the Celtics had came that night. Now, I knew Paul from Kansas because I'm a big Celtics fan, and we was drafting him #1. He was the shit coming out of college. So it's like, oh shit, we're gonna pair him up with Antoine Walker. We getting ready to make some noise again. We had sucked for so long. Everybody was happy that Paul was coming. I think we was in last fucking place the year before. So that night, something had happened. Me and my man Hirsch. Something had happened, because we're in the club, and let's say me and Hirsch are over here by the pool table, and they over there by where the music's at, the DJ. You notice that the Celtics in it, because these niggas is tall as you know what I'm saying? I remember Tony Battie was in there. When Paul got there, right, I couldn't recognize him. He was in the club, I didn't even know. It's not like the club was super big, but I think it had 2 floors. So I didn't recognize if he was in there. Because when you see a nigga on TV and basketball, the first time you're seeing him in a dark nightclub, you're not even gonna recognize him really. Because I didn't. A fight breaks out, niggas is over there beefing. That's a regular thing in Boston. Niggas fight. That happens all the time in clubs. That's why we never had no clubs. It was guaranteed to be fights. I mean, bloody, fucked up fights, dying fights, all kind of shit. Shootouts, stabbings. Anyways, niggas is giving this one dude the business. Nobody else jumped in with. That's one thing I noticed. No other Celtics went over there to help Paul that night. And there was a few of them in there. Nobody went over there to help him. Now, me and Hurst, my man, Tony Hurst, we're standing to the side watching everything. And we seeing, the whole situation. And we're just like, damn, look at this shit. If I'd known that was Paul, I would have went over there. Because I seen niggas, it was, he was the only one. But it happens so regularly. But if I knew it was Paul Pierce, the #1 draft pick of the Celtics, I would have went over there and stopped that. When Paul was laid out, the lights came on, everybody's rushing to get the fuck out of there. I'm running downstairs to my car. I'm walking fast in the parking lot. And I think Tony Battia and his brother was like, yeah, it was Made Man Benzino. He's right next to me saying my name. So I jump in the whip. Come to find out, people are talking. Paul was getting real aggressive with, one of the wise guy's girls. And he told him to chill. And I guess Paul didn't chill. And he was being real aggressive with his girl. The rest is history. Now,
what you mean by aggressive?
Like trying to holler at her. Trying just, what I'm saying? After somebody like, yo, that's my girl or whatever. And then, words fly. It happens so much. Everybody by me talking this can see this. This happens all the time. You have your girl with you, some nigga getting agree, yo, homie, she's with me. You're supposed to only take one time. The rule is you're supposed to take one time. And if you didn't know, that's your time to chill. If you still saying something after that, then niggas have died from that shit. Like graveyards, jails are full of niggas over shit like that. So this ain't nothing new. I ended up rushing back to New York because I knew this shit was getting ready to hit the fan. This was all up, every news, every world news. I mean, this was crazy, because he got stabbed up pretty bad. Now, my lawyer said that they went in there, the gang task force with the picture book, and they kept, Paul was on his bed. He just lived, like an inch away from his lung, heart, something, or his lung, something, but he got fucked up. And they kept pointing at my picture and they wanted him to say it was me. They kept telling him to do it. Kept telling him, in his bed. He didn't pick me, but he picked. Remember I told you my man next to me? The whole time when all this happened? Picked him. He was nowhere near when that shit was going on. We're watching, looking at each other, shaking our head like, look at this shit. Because again, it's supposed to be the Wise Guys record release party. We're watching shit go down. So I had to get a lawyer. So we had to come back. We got stopped at the airport, put in cuffs. Hurst ended up getting locked up. We had to bail him out. I had to pay for a lawyer. Took it to trial. God willing. Thank God he didn't get locked up. They found him not guilty. But Roscoe and Trev, Roscoe got like 20 years and Trev got it a bunch of time. And, Paul Pierce picked him out. He said those are the ones who stabbed and punched him.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So he told and everything.
He told. Now, my thing is this, right? I've told the story before without saying that Paul told. Because I want to. But my guys did years behind that shit. When I see Paul do the Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes interview, I thought he was real kind of, I thought he was too loose with it, with his answers. This guy's still sitting in jail for that shit right now. And, for you to be, he should have manned up to his actions, because not only that's telling the truth. And that's some real nigga shit. But also, you're gonna help these other young guys out there who are in different cities on how they act and their behavior. You gotta let them know, don't do the shit that I did. Be aggressive in some other city's girl with a real nigga's chick. Like, don't be he needs to tell that, because he almost died from that, and my guy's got a lot of time from that. So to me, if he's the truth, then he needs to tell the truth on what happened that night. It got swept under the rug. I watched how a city cried for a black man and loved the black man. I watched a racist ass city feel so bad for Paul Pierce, but hated the fuck out of me. Who told Jadakiss to tell them probably same police that they should have killed me. That's the difference. If you go swing a ball and bounce a ball and dunk a ball for Boston, they love you as a black man. But you in the streets just trying to hustle to get by, they fucking despise you as a black man.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So he was trying to holler at another dude chick, and that's why he got stabbed. Yeah.
That pretty much was why. I mean, nobody just, again, it was a place where it was a night of celebration, so niggas wasn't on that shit. Paul just got too aggressive. Paul's from Inglewood. I've heard stories about Paul. Now, I've met Paul a couple of times. Not like he was a bad guy or whatever, but, these guys that I love, those are my guys, and I love them guys. And it was unfortunate. It was